Hey there, and welcome into Main Street Living. I'm Danielle Avari.
Hey guys, I'm Quincy Carr.
I'm Cheryl Nelson and excited for another fun show. A lot of fun stuff to talk about today, guys.
Yeah.
Big time, big time. We are obviously celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, over the next couple of shows. And one thing that I could say, and this is not just because Hispanic Heritage Month, but we pretty much do it at least once a month, but Taco Tuesday. And in our house, Taco Tuesday is crazy, right? So, but I have to tell you, ladies, the favorite part about the Hispanic culture for me is learning to dance. Like I've done the bachata and all that stuff. And for me, it's weird because for the man, you got to lead, right? And you got to be in control. And I'm like, is it okay to pull you? This is a yes, pull me. So, but when I get it, because it's so fast, it's about movement. Because I feel like I got two left feet. So when I get that, I think I'm pretty good.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, Q. See, you and I should dance together because I can't dance. If you have two left feet, I think it'll be entertaining for Danielle to watch.
Yeah, Cheryl's going to take the lead on the show, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right in the small of the back. So you know what? We got a great show. You don't have to worry about me learning how to dance today, but I will be working.
Yeah, and we get to hear about a show within a show, the Miramar Air Show today.
Oh, I'm excited about that, guys. And as Quincy already said, we are talking about Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're going to celebrate that. Wait till you see some of the guests we have and some very interesting stories to share. Don't go anywhere. More Main Street Living is coming up next. Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Quincy, we are kicking off our celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, which we will be exploring all month long. And there is certainly a lot to celebrate here.
That's right, Cheryl. But what exactly Hispanic Heritage Month means may depend on who you ask. And Adela Garcia with Latina Success Leadership Program, she's here to give us her perspective. So welcome to Main Street Living. How you doing there, Adela?
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate the time.
No problem. I just want to start off with I love the shirt. I love that. It looks very good on you. Nice.
Nice for the shirt.
Nice. Now, what are we really celebrating when it comes to Hispanic Heritage Month?
Well, I think we're doing a couple of things. First of all, it is a celebration. It's a celebration of 62 million Latinos or Hispanics, however they are identified in the United States. We come in different flavors. We have a bond together in the language piece most of the time, but we really are doing more than just celebrating. We're also creating awareness of some of the areas that aren't working well for us, where we need attention. So it's a celebration, but at the same time, it's an education. And that's what I call it. That's what I like. And that's what I think that the people that I associate want to see happen.
Absolutely. Do you feel like that education obviously provides a lot of value? Do you think that value is for Hispanic people, or is it more for non-Hispanics to learn more about different cultures in our country?
Oh, I think it's for all of us. I think it's for all of us, because even this morning, Good Morning America, I'm a big fan of that program, and I'm hearing Cecilia Vega, and they're showing all of these different people from different countries. They all have the Hispanic or the Latino connection. And one of the things that she said that was very telling is it was specific to Hollywood. And it said, while we represent 18% of the population, it's really like 19%, only 5% are in Hollywood. Now, when you have that many people that are in the population, and you have such a low representation, you really do need to focus some attention there. Most people don't realize that. I like to throw the number 62 million, because that's when you look at that percentage, you're going, wow, why aren't we there? And so I think that it's an opportunity to educate people and also to celebrate. When I was growing up, we didn't have any view of role models. I grew up, I'm a little older than all of you, but I grew up in the 60s. That's when I was in high school. And in the high schools, we were battling with some really tough issues with a population that was in the lower scale of the workforce, crumbling schools, no progression into college. And so people started to organize around that. And when Hispanic Heritage, it began as a week. It wasn't even a whole, month. It was a week, 5-7 days or whatever in 1968. But if you take a look at what was happening in the country in the 60s, there was a lot of unrest. So the idea that you could open the door for opportunities for women, minorities, for all of us, that expanded the workforce, that drew attention to how we needed to progress. This is important. This is really good stuff. Our kids should not be afraid or hold back on who they have as grandparents because of their heritage. They should be very proud. We are a country of immigrants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's so true. And you were touching a little bit on your growing up in San Diego. Can you give us a little bit of insight of what you think is the difference between back in the 60s and where it is now with the Hispanic community with regards to the Hispanic Heritage Month?
Well, I think the media has changed, right? So the communication, the ability to really highlight problems is very different. The information is out there. I think where the interest hasn't changed is how do we solve this? How do we make it better? How do we as a country leverage all of our differences to really make the United States that much stronger? Hollywood gets it, right? They did the movie Coco.
Yeah.
And so when you see how it went viral around the world and what it spun off, it's good business. So I think that it's really important for people to just be honest. And then we don't have all the problems solved. We don't have all of the ways, but you celebrate the steps.
Yeah. And I so agree. Coco is such a great example because there's more stories to be told. We don't want to just keep seeing the same old ones. So as our country becomes more intertwined and more multicultural, do you think it's still really important to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month?
Oh, absolutely. Look, when I was a little girl, and even today, we celebrate St. Patrick's. Okay. So what's the big deal? I mean, I love a good party. I think most people love to join forces to celebrate. So what's the big deal? I mean, if you're able to highlight the best of the country of Ireland, okay, why couldn't you do that with all the other countries that represent this country?
Yeah.
And I think it's an important thing. I don't want to ever lose this. I don't want to get hung up in how it should be called, because there's tremendous benefit in being able to use this platform to not only highlight the good things and the great accomplishments of individuals and things that are happening from people of color, but it's in Latinos and the Hispanics or whatever, Latinx, whatever your choice of how you choose to identify. But at the same time, use that platform to also educate right alongside so that we can keep this going and really make our country that much stronger.
Yeah, like keep it going, make the country much stronger. And you were touching on something regarding, how Hispanics may fit into a specific category, right? So do all Hispanics celebrate the month in the same way?
I don't know that they celebrate. I know that the Chicano, most of the Chicano community, and I consider myself a Chicana, a lot of them have a real problem with Hispanicize. I don't. I look at what are the benefits in the middle, and then how can we leverage on that? I don't want to get stuck on labels. I really don't. But I understand that some people invested a lot and they want to be associated with that. And I honor that. But I think the choice of how you associate yourself, if you identify yourself in a particular category, is fine. I know that I go to friends of mine and they're Colombians, from San Salvador, Nicaraguenses, Cubans, Puerto Ricans. We all share some thread that's very unique and goes across all of us in terms of how we love our families, how we enjoy each other. Our changes in music might be different, our changes in food. But at the end, I think we all have some thread that goes very deep and holds us together. And I want to celebrate that.
Absolutely. And I'm with you. I like to party. I like a good celebration. So what are some ways that viewers can celebrate or get involved during Hispanic Heritage Month?
Well, I think the best thing that you can do is to really take a look at what's happening in your city, right? Because in my city, like the mayor of Chula Vista has an event for El Grito. El Grito is the cry for the Independence Day of Mexico. And by the way, I had to study this because I'm Mexican American. So for me, I know the Grito, but I understand that there's also other countries that celebrate Independence Day about the same time from Central and South America. So for me, look at those. They offer the food, the music, the feel good, and it's a celebration. So we have a House of Mexico now that just came up in Balboa Park here in San Diego. And that's a wonderful venue. The council, Mexican council from here in San Diego, he's having an event over on India Street. So there's all kinds of things. But even in your own home, sit your kids down, talk to them about how important it is that they be proud of who they are, and talk to them. And when you see something on television that shows one of the stars, because there's many wonderful people now that are in key positions and making significant contributions, tell them, hey, that's just like you.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest thing that we can do. So for me, it's a celebration, but I don't want it to be just 1 month. I want it to be all year long.
All year long.
Absolutely. Adela, thank you so much for your time today, and we appreciate you educating us on this today.
Thank you very much.
Amazing work. Amazing work. Adela said it best. It should be all year round. Coming up next, though, I wish Main Street Living was, all year round. I guess it is. Next up, we're going to meet with an incredible athlete. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back into Main Street Living. As we continue to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, we will be recognizing people who have made contributions in many aspects of our society.
Well, that's right, Danielle. And sports is such a great way to bring people together. And of course, soccer is such a huge part of that life in Latin American cultures.
Absolutely. And Alejandro Guido Perez is excelling in his sport while also making his community a better place. Take a look at this inspiring athlete.
My name is Alejandro Eugenio Guido Perez. I play for the San Diego Loyal, and I'm a midfielder. Midfielder kind of does a little bit of everything. Attacks, defends, it helps organizes the press to win the ball back, and then defend in the low block, and then attack and create opportunities for the forwards to score and yourself. I started at a young age playing soccer. I did it here in Chula Vista, but I also played in Tijuana, Mexico. So that was a big part of who I was and I am now as a soccer player, that I was able to get both perspectives being a border kid. What really draws me is how a team works together and all the little details that go into a game that is sometimes not seen by the average fan, but you need to know in the game and changes the whole dynamic. I did play for Modern Day High School for one season as my freshman year, and it was one of the best times of my life.
He started with the varsity squad and ran the table. I think that was 2009, 2010. He won a league title, a CIF title, and a state title. He's probably hands down, after 20 years of coaching soccer at the high school level, the best soccer player, complete soccer player I've ever seen.
During high school, I got recruited by the U.S. national team, and I lived in Florida for preparation for the U17 World Cup, and I got to participate that in Mexico. It was held out, and from there, I had the opportunity to go on loan to Vitesse Arnhem, which is in Holland, First Division. I was there for a year. Then afterwards, I came back and I signed for Cholos at Tijuana. So after Tijuana, I got the opportunity to go with LAFC from Major League Soccer, and I was there for 2 years. It's definitely been restorative to be back home and be at a club, such a great club, that values the person, not just the player. I've been able to grow tremendously on and off the field and be taken care of by the family that's around me and supporting me. When I moved to MLS and LAFC, they have a program where they offer online classes, and that's where I started getting into my bachelor's and my master's. My goal near is to go back to MLS or League MX, and then I would love to just play in a national team game, and then eventually transition and be a good coach.
Now, Danielle and Cheryl, like the pretty cool thing about this is in all of his success, he's getting that college degree too. So keep soaring high, my man.
And he's traveling all over the place to play. Such an inspiring guy. And you can find out more about Alejandro's team, the San Diego Loyal, on their website, sdloyal.com. Well, don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more coming up on Main Street Living. In fact, we will learn what are the treasures of the Yucatan. You don't want to miss this.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Cheryl, as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month right here on YurView, we'll be running several special program series highlighting Hispanic themes, and I assure you, these shows are some that you definitely don't want to miss.
That's right. And one of those shows is a 10-part series called Living Treasures of the Yucatan. Bill Rosado produces and hosts the show, and he is here with more details. Welcome to Main Street Living, Bill.
Thank you very much.
So as I mentioned, you produced a show called Living Treasures of the Yucatan. How would you describe what the show is about?
Well, I grew up in Merida, Yucatan until the age of 15. And over the years, there were very small treasures. And I refer that to the people and the traditions that seem to be fading away with time. And I wanted to preserve some of them. So I saw our series as preserving some of those beautiful moments that we want to retain for the young children in the future to see.
So the treasures are actually living people. Talk to us about some of these treasures.
Well, I'll tell you like this. It started with, I wanted to do this, just film a little bit for my grandchildren. And Ken Vos, who directed this with me, he says, no, we got to do an actual series, he said, because there's so many interesting topics to talk about, such as the first episode was the gentleman who sharpens knives, that walks down the street every day and is engaged in a career which, again, is fading. And he knows every client that he has been working with for many, many years. And he sharpens the knives, the scissors. And that's about a 5-minute process. But the conversations he has with his clients are just, it's just an absolute treasure to see that.
What are some of the different skills that you're afraid would disappear with this generation?
Well, the street vendors, I see them, there's less and less of them in the city. A lot of it is because economics. It's very hard to make a living, sharpening knives or shining shoes or even fixing pots and pans. Some of these people still come down the street and the housewives come out. But anymore, we're living in a world of replacement. Why fix up a pan? Just throw it out and get a new one. Well, it may sound practical, but it takes away part of what we've all lived with for so many years. And I remember my mother, look forward, this is before supermarkets were around or stores were around. Literally, these people were part of our life. They fixed the shoes. They even sold us dirt for the flowers in the house, fixed pots and pans, sold bread, pastries, tortillas. They come down the street, making a certain noise that the vendor was outside. And I see that part of life kind of fading away, and it's a shame because I also believe that that's part of the heritage. And for many years, I lobbied trying to get even the government to chip in a little bit to keep this, because it's something that people, even tourism, appreciates when they walk down the street and they see a person with a massive box of candies on top of their head selling it. It's part of our culture.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because you're right. People just rush out to the big box stores now, or they order things online. But when you can go and have that face-to-face interaction and get some of those goods and supplies that you need, there's so much more meaning behind it. And, when it comes to you really diving into the history of the people of the Yucatan, what makes you so passionate about wanting to do this and keep the traditions alive?
I came at the age of 15, and by all means, I'm proud to be an American. I'm a Mexican by birth, and I just want to share. The passion is I want to share these small moments in life with people. Some of my friends, when they go down, they can't believe that somebody still goes down the street selling bread. So I want to share. I want to share this part of the culture. And that's my passion. I want people to see. And we live in a time in which there's so much controversy about countries, and whether it's Mexico, the United States. And I want to show that there's more to that. There's a lot of beauty that I think we could offer, that it's not sensationalism. It's the small things, I think, that we're starting to lose sight of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the little things are so important. What are a couple of your favorite stories that we will get to see in this series?
There's so many of them, but beginning with the knife sharpener, I remember him when he was a kid. He was hanging around. Very tall. He's kind of a tall Mexican guy. Spoke very good English. He at one time was a bodyguard for the consulate of the Mexican consulate in England, and that's why. And I said, "You're sharpening knives down the street?" He said, "Well, I served in the military." He says, "But to be honest with you, I love being out here and meeting people, and I don't even have a kitchen. I don't have to cook. All my clients feed me throughout the day." He said. So I thought that was wonderful. Also, when this little old lady that positioned the baby in one of the episodes, you're going to see, positions the baby for pregnant women, which, by the way, is being recognized currently by doctors, that it is a good method. It's a very good therapy for the baby to feel some hands. This lady was, I don't know, 4'5", maybe she's a tiny little lady. She's 90-some years old. And you're talking to somebody who isn't really talking about, hey, I'm old. She's focused on the work that she does. And with the little hands that I just saw so much care. With the little wrinkled hands that were just doing the best that she could offer, living in extreme poverty. And things that living in the United States and living in some maybe better conditions, you still start to forget, in my opinion, and value that the work that these people do, the passion that they have, far outweighs any financial gain. So she taught me that a lot, this lady, because she was just that she didn't even have the right clothing to wear. So we gave her a little dress, and she wanted to give it back to us. I said, "No, it's yours, ma'am." So moments like that are totally precious. And almost everywhere that we went, and we're filming this, I felt that the passion that I have for telling the story, these people through me were feeling the same. I mean, from the gentleman that was banging with this steel hammer, these pieces of metal to make shapes and so forth, and telling me, I asked him, "Where do you get these materials?" He said, "On the streets. I walk down the highways. I find metal, and I recycle it by making hammock hooks and things like that." And I'm thinking to myself, boy, these people figured out recycling way before we did.
Oh,
So the moments like that, sandals. Somebody makes
Right.
sandals out of tires. It's like, and trust me when I tell you those sandals will last 200 years. And I'm thinking, wow, desperation sometimes creates, it creates our future. I think,
It really does.
So.
Yeah. There's so much we can learn from these people. And before we go, quickly tell us how our viewers can watch the show.
I sincerely appreciate the fact that you're showing it on your network, and it's a proud moment for us.
Absolutely. All right. So yes, make sure you catch it out, YurView.com as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. Danielle, do you love a serenade?
Especially from you, Cheryl.
I'm not the best singer, but if you do love a serenade, stick around. We'll explain next. Welcome back to Main Street Living. Quincy, Danielle, there are many things that define different cultures, food, styles of clothing, and especially the music.
Well, that's right, Cheryl. There is music in every culture and every part of the world, but one style of music is synonymous with Mexican culture.
That's right. You may have only experienced mariachi music in your local Mexican restaurant, but its history runs deep. Let's check it out.
So Southwestern College, the name of the mariachi is Mariachi Garibaldi, is the performing group that we have. We've actually had as many as 4 different ensembles, so 4 different classes, beginning, intermediate, advanced. And the advanced group is outstanding. We got that associate's degree in music with the mariachi specialization approved in 2004. And that was the first in the world anywhere. It's not a degree in mariachi music, it's a degree in music with a specialization in mariachi.
You take the beginning courses of whether it's a voice, a violin, trumpet, guitar, vihuela, guitarrón, and then you go through the intermediate class, and then you go through the advanced classes, and then you learn about the history of mariachi.
We need to have students who want to come and get their mariachi degree. They have to be able to take lessons on all of those instruments so that they can improve their personal technique, and they have to play in the ensembles.
What I love the most with performing to an audience is just when you perform a song, you can see it in the faces of the people that they really enjoy it, and they're very familiar with the music.
I just love when the audience gets engaged. It's pretty fun. I don't know, I just love how they're all happy and they're really enthused about our performances, and when they clap and when they're happy.
The ensemble is great. I mean, it ranges anywhere from 30 to 50, sometimes 60 members every semester. It's fantastic.
The point of the degree is that I am actually training people to become professionals. The second track is to finish your degree, transfer to get a 4-year degree, to get a bachelor's degree in music.
It gives mariachi music the respect that it kind of deserves, because it's not really common for schools or colleges to kind of support these type of programs or the folklore in the music. So I really like that it's being treated as an equal with orchestra and jazz.
It's just a good feel music that there's so much tradition behind it. And if you grew up with it, you've heard these songs a million times. And it's just a wonderful feeling, and it brings back many, many memories.
Wow, ladies, I have to say, I really wish music class was this fun for me when I was in school.
I agree. Q, maybe you and I would have been musicians too. I mean, I don't know. It looks like a lot of fun there.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's even more meaningful when it's part of your culture. So it's very cool to see that. And you can find out more about the mariachi program at Southwestern College, as well as how to see the Mariachi Garibaldi performances at virtuosomariachi.com. But do not go anywhere, because coming up next, we are headed to the danger zone. Welcome back into Main Street Living. I don't know about you guys, but does it seem like lately the biggest movies are all about superheroes, including this summer's blockbuster, Top Gun Maverick?
Oh, yeah.
Which first reveals a different real-life kind of hero. Those in our armed services.
Yes, absolutely. And if you would like an up-close and personal look at both the incredible history and the current cutting-edge technology of military aviation, you need to go to the Miramar Air Show. Please welcome Lieutenant Jacoby Hawkins with exciting details about this upcoming Miramar Air Show. Welcome to Main Street Living.
I appreciate it. Thank you. How you doing?
I am great. I am all into this stuff. I flew with the Blue Angels in the past. So I know what it feels like. I know some of the tricks that you guys do and everything that happens there. And after a couple years off because of the pandemic, the Miramar Air Show is back. So what are some of the performances that attendees can look forward to seeing?
Yeah, I mean, we're extremely excited to have it back since 2019 because of COVID. But now we're coming back. We have the F-35s with the Marine Air Ground Task Force demonstration. I mean, it's going to be all Marine Corps aircraft, ending with a big wall of fire that I know everybody's looking forward to. I think 2019 was the biggest wall of fire we've ever had, and we're looking to top that this year. Of course, we have the Blue Angels with the F-18s, and they're always a headliner as well. So for sure.
Yeah, well, it's clear in anyone who's attended the show, just like Cheryl was just talking about, they are excited. They're all inspiring, tricks and events that goes on at the show. But, it's got to be a lot of work to put on a show like that for the community. So what's the purpose of the air show for the Marines?
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of the air show is we finally get to demonstrate all the training hours, all the work that Marines do, all service members do, and get to put that on display for the community to see. They don't ever really get to see behind the curtains as to it being put on display. So they actually get to have that opportunity to see that at the Miramar Air Show, the biggest one in the world. So,
yeah.
Oh, and Miramar has gotten a lot of visibility this past year, of course, with the release of the new Top Gun Maverick movie, which I love. So how has that impacted the public's perception of military aviation?
For sure. I mean, Top Gun, it's interesting because the very first Top Gun, I mean, there was some filming on Miramar, and the aviators, the Navy aviators flew out of Miramar. They had their training squadron there. In 1996, though, it switched to a Marine Corps air station. So we're not even involved with Top Gun, but we get the benefits of the movie, the promotion. So we definitely accept that willfully. But it's just interesting as you talk to pilots and get their stories. I mean, some of them were kids when they saw this first Top Gun, and that inspired them to become a pilot today. So it's actually really cool to hear those types of stories.
Yeah, and to see it come back, what was it, like 30 plus years later? Like it hits and it still hits with the same type of power. And we got a chance to see some really impressive new technology in the movie, but you are making technology strides on many fronts yourself. Yeah. So you got to tell us some of the ways you guys are using technology on the base.
Yeah, for sure. So outside of the aircraft community as a whole, just as a base, we're looking to further connect with the community. We want to see how we can strengthen our relationship and further collaborate in the future. So essentially right now, just a couple of weeks ago, August 17th, we collaborated with San Diego Energy, SDG&E, and essentially we have a microgrid on base. So what this allows us to do is be self-sufficient with energy for a temporary amount of time. So essentially what happened is we talked to SDG&E, and with the heat rising in San Diego, they asked us to basically go internal on base, which ended up supplying energy to approximately 3,000 homes from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that stories like that, we're not sharing them enough internally. So I definitely want to get that out there and show how we're working with the community.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's so important too in this day and age. And there's so many air shows that go on around the country, so lots of opportunities to see them. But as you mentioned, Miramar is the biggest. And so if our viewers are not in the San Diego area for the show, is there a way to take a little peek in?
Yeah, so my team on Miramar, we're going to do a live stream on Saturday, the second day of the air show. So every day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we run the same schedule of air show events. So if you see it only Saturday, you're not missing out on anything. And that's going to be live streamed on our Facebook, which is going to be displayed at Miramar, California. And you can
find Perfect. Well, let's talk about the tickets for those that can actually be there in San Diego on the 25th of September.
Yeah, so you can get our tickets at MiramarAirShow.com. Essentially, there's general admission, which is free of charge. You don't have to go on there and get a ticket. You can come in with a lawn chair, hang out, do whatever you want to do. But there's also tiers of tickets on our website, which varies in cost depending on the amenities that you choose. So there's a ticket for everybody. And then just remember to bring a clear bag if you're going to bring items. And then wear sunscreen because it's been hot in San Diego. Drink lots of water. 2019, there were heat cases. We're trying to keep those at a minimal for sure this year.
Awesome. Well, Lieutenant Hawkins, salute you, my man. We thank you for your service here on Main Street Living. Thank you for doing what you guys do, and we wish you guys a safe and happy event there.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, my man.
Take care.
All right, well, Cheryl, up next, we're going to continue to ascend to greater heights, and we're going to meet a successful woman on a mission. You don't want to miss it. Stay right there. Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, ladies, you both are very good and genuine people, and I feel like I'm a genuine person. And I know that we all like to make a difference in the world, but sometimes it's hard to know exactly how to do just that.
Yeah, well, cute. Helping a neighbor in need is a great way to give back to our communities and also to make a big impact.
Yes, and with that in mind, let's take a look at this remarkable woman in Las Vegas who is working to change the lives of women and children in her community.
We are overjoyed that Linda Perez is being recognized and honored for Hispanic Heritage Month. She is someone that I look to as a like-minded individual who has lived in experience and truly is vested. It is her calling and purpose for the role that she has, and I think we share that in common. So we collaborate deeply, and I'm fortunate to call her a friend.
When I get to share my story or make sure that our programs and services are effectively making a difference in our clients' lives, that's the rewarding piece about it. Not every story is success right now, but we have hope that every client that comes to us knows that we're here for them. And if they might not be ready this time, we're here when they are.
It's important that we have someone like Linda who speaks to the Latino community, so she can personally speak to and has a lived-in experience with domestic violence. She understands the stigma and shame that often follows women and families. And it's being that compassionate leader, but also being that leader that we can all strive to be and show that women, all people have the potential to reach the highest and to help one another.
I've always known that my family, myself, we've always been givers. We've always helped others that were less fortunate. And when I think about the work that I do now, I provide food, shelter, and services that make lives better. But I'm just doing the work that my grandmother started and what I've learned throughout my journey.
She inspires me to be a better leader. Frankly, she is a great sounding board for me. Her deep commitment, her ability to work with multiple stakeholders and partners, community partners, funders, she brings us all together, and we need that. We need that in our sector.
As Hispanics, we're very proud, we're strong, we're hard workers. But when you have a female Hispanic, we're very fiery and spicy and fun and challenging, and I'm just so happy where I'm at in my life. I get to enjoy not only being a 52-year-old woman, successful woman, but a 52-year-old minority Hispanic woman doing amazing things in the community, impacting the lives of my staff and their families as well. I say all of that to say I'm very grateful for my upbringing. I'm very grateful for the values that were instilled in me growing up in a Hispanic family. I'm just proud of my heritage.
Wow. Very inspiring, ladies. I'm always cheering for women who strive to make a positive impact.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and as it pertains to Hispanic Heritage Month, it's so nice to hear everyone always talk about the values that they have, and you can see really good ones there. So to find more information about Dress for Success and the Shade Tree organizations, just click over to their websites. But stick with us here, because straight ahead we have more Main Street Living. welcome back into Main Street Living one last time. Quincy, Cheryl, a great way to kick off celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
That's right, guys. And of course, if you miss this episode or any of the other past episodes, you can always catch it on our Cox Contour app.
And of course, brand new episodes of Main Street Living right here on YurView, 9 p.m. local time on Mondays. So make sure you join us then as we take another stroll down Main Street.